time bandits. And Brazil, a new movie full of noise. Honor.
Have you any famous last words?
Not yet.
Not yet. Is that famous?
The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, a true story. We've got the film to prove it.
Yo, Christian, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Back, refreshed. It's been a little while since we've done a recording, but both either with you or anyone else for me.
Yeah, man. What a recording to come back on. Am I right?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like of all, I look. Is it the best one? Maybe. Is it the worst one? Also, maybe.
What? Wait, are we talking about the same movie?
I mean, maybe we are, maybe we aren't. The listeners will just have to tune in to find out.
Because I'll tell you one thing. I'm pretty sure, regardless of the name of this movie, I watched the live action movie of One Piece. Is what happened this evening. I'm quite certain.
Oh, they finally went through with that, huh?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You know how that got drawn up or who licensed / funded that one, but this movie that I watched this evening was definitely the live action One Piece movie.
We made it.
It has to be. There's nothing else has ever come close in my entire life.
Wow. That sounds like high praise, Brendan.
Christian, I'm going to here, should we do the summary before we get into it?
Yeah,
we should do the summary.
We should get a summary out of the way.
All right. Let's do a summary. Let's do a summary. I mean, that's what everyone comes here for. They really just listen to the summary and then they just skip to the end when we do the fun bits of the. They listen to summary. They listen to our critical opinions up front, and then they're like, "All right, skip all this fucking fluff."
All right, right to the Letterboxd reviews.
Right to the Letterboxd reviews. What kind of score can Brendan get? All right. Anyway. All right. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. It's that time again, folks. Time to put on your nostalgia glasses, grab your two halves of a coconut, and clippity-clop on down to the show, because tonight is going to be one for the ages. It's got everything you could ever want: mystery, crazy hijinks, beautiful people, and even a giant fuck-off fish that loves chewing tobacco. That's right, you heard correctly. Beautiful people exist in this world, too. Also, maybe I'm embellishing how much that fish likes chewing tobacco. All I'm saying is, he looked really cool, and I kind of want to be him. Regardless, with this viewing, we've completed yet another trilogy of sorts, and while it might not have been the greatest ride of all time, it was definitely worth taking at least once. So, without further ado, your summary for the finale of the Trilogy of Imagination. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen is a fantasy adventure film that retells one of the stories of fantastical adventure and whimsy based on the real-life fictional German noble Baron Munchausen, who is in turn based on a real-life German aristocrat. During the Age of Enlightenment in Europe, we start our journey with an Ottoman attack on an unnamed European city where an acting troupe is performing a stage play of the Baron's life. Already getting very meta, I see. Suddenly, the real Baron shows up and denounces the events as they are told in the play, insisting that he tell the real story, one that even includes why the Ottomans are currently attacking the city. It begins with a bet made with the Grand Turk that the Baron wins and subsequently cleans out the Ottoman leader's treasure room of all valuables. This angers him, and he follows the Baron all the way back to town. Thus begins the harrowing inclusion of a little girl named Sally, as she is dragged along on Munchausen's quest to get the band back together in order to stop the Grand Turk from overrunning the town. Along the way, they meet fantastical figures, travel to the moon, and even encounter gods. Finally, they return to the city and put a stop to the invasion, only for Munchausen to be killed during the celebrations. And yet the narrative pulls out to reveal that the movie we just watched was actually yet another story being told by old Munchie Boy. What is truly real in this world anyway? All right, we did it. I got to the end of the summary. And honestly, that was probably one of my best summaries yet. Christian, buddy, how you doing? How you doing, man?
Well, to reiterate from before, I feel I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited. I'm energized.
You're gonna make me do this bit again, right? You're gonna make me do this bit, huh? I'm gonna ask the question again. how are you doing about the fact that you watched this movie tonight? Yeah. Sorry, I need to be very. I forgot how literal you are. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'll say up front, I had a better time with this than Brazil.
Here we fucking go. Sorry, say it again. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, sorry, you were too busy reacting preemptively. I'll say right off the bat, I enjoyed this film more than Brazil.
Fantastic, love that.
That is without question. Within the first 20 minutes or so, basically, I was already on board with this one as opposed to the entirety of Brazil. So that was a good sign to start off with. And the movie, I think in the first. That feels like a good metric. Like the first 20-ish minutes or so, you basically know what you're in for the rest of the time. Maybe even earlier than that. But by 20 minutes, I was like, all right, I kind of feel I've kind of got the feel of what I'm going for here, and it doesn't really fluctuate from that energy. You get the rest of the movie's runtime for like an hour and a half maintains the same vibe for the most part, with some slight dips and dives and rises as different actions happen and we go to different fantastic places. But overall, I think that I enjoy, and so to kind of bring this along with the Terry Gilliam's trilogy of imagination, I feel as though I've been given a sandwich here between Time Bandits, Brazil, and now Baron Munchausen.
Right.
I think a terrible movie has been sandwiched in between two fairly decent ones.
Okay. Hey, that's honestly kind of high praise. Continue, or if you have additional thoughts.
So, and to further point to this, Baron Munchausen. I'm really sad you didn't end up watching Time Bandits with me, because I
do know Time Bandits though. I did see it like when I was probably like 23 or something, when I was living during quarantine or whatever the fuck that was, maybe 25.
Okay, so like the basics of Time Bandits are still stuck with you at least.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
So this movie is basically Time Bandits, but different.
Yes. I would totally agree.
This movie is just older Time Bandits and some slightly reversed roles in terms of who is important and who is not. But largely, it follows the same formula in which we're going to get a band of people together and go on wacky adventures. And also there's this regular person who's tagging along for some reason or another. So, which is fine. I liked it in Time Bandits and I like it in Munchausen also. This one just has some other elements to it that make it slightly different, and I think reflect some of the this movie is both better and worse than Time Bandits in several ways, and I'll get into more of it as we continue along here. But basically, I think what it does better is it does the whimsy of Time Bandits better in this movie, but it does the slightly more problematic elements of something like Brazil more in this movie also. Not nearly as bad as like Brazil or even Imaginarium, but I think it does impact the overall enjoyment of the movie, generally speaking. But as a whole, I'll conclude with the idea that I had a good time with Munchausen.
Okay, hey, honestly, high praise. That's more than I could ever ask for. Okay, so I'm just going to say this movie is this is a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. I had a great fucking time with this goddamn stupid movie. Okay, maybe great's being a little excessive. I honestly think the only fault that I have in this movie is that the gaggy parts maybe just didn't bring out more than a chuckle in me. There was an opportunity to really hit me with some okay, I see what you did there. Everything was very it was very visual, but only visual gags, right? There wasn't there was nothing that really tipped the scale as oh man, that was really creative or clever. It was just kind of hey, yeah, King and Queen Moon are in the bedchamber and she's making those noises because he's tickling her feet, and the audience being I know what's going on, and then he's actually just tickling her feet. That's funny. It is funny. I'm not gonna say it's not, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like a little too on the nose of like comedy for me to be like more than that's funny. You got me. You tricked me. You tricked me, Terry. You did it again. I can't believe you did it, but you did it again. But in terms of just like the overall picture, you know, I was when I was watching this. So the last time I seen this movie was probably back when I was like 8, maybe 10 years old, something like that.
Oh my God,
way
okay.
days. Yeah, no, it's been a long fucking time. I think I watched this movie when I watched funny enough, the reason I watched this movie, I had just got done watching Patches, the movie with Robin Williams as the doctor, the one that like heals everybody with laughter or whatever. At least I think that's what that movie's called, Patches or Dr. Patch. Anyway, regardless, he Robin Williams stars in a movie where he is a doctor, like an actual doctor, but he opens his own practice, and apparently it's based on a real life guy. He opens his own practice where he very much like tries to articulate and make people laugh because he believes that when people experience laughter, they have a much higher chance of survival for terminal illnesses, blah, blah, blah. And apparently he's a real guy. Apparently there was actually some like studies done where he had like some shit like thrown together that, you know, gave him a little bit of credence to that. Anyway, I'd watched that movie as a child and I was like, this is really good. And then I think I watched like Aladdin. And then for some reason, like in my Brendan brain, I was like, I'm going to watch every like movie known to man that has Robin Williams in it. And this movie, believe it or not, is on the list.
Well, yeah, I don't think some people would immediately guess that right off the bat. And you got to wait a little while for him to show up, but he's there.
He is there. Oh, so listen, I do not really remember most of the details before watching it this evening. I just remember like it was a little weird. It was a little funny. And I also really liked the effects as a child. And I think because I also really liked the Goonies as a kid. And I think practical like 80s effects just does something to my like, you know, adolescent monkey brain where I was just like that. I need to see more of this. This is good. I enjoy it. Anyway, so watching it today, what I really like about this flick is that it really just plays on the hero's journey all the way through. And then the other thing that I like about this movie is that they're literally just One Piece characters in the fucking movie with devil fruit powers, basically. It's like, what? I was like, what the hell, dude? So I don't know if you realize, but I realized it right away. One of the goons in this movie is literally just a guy on Blackbeard's crew.
One of these guys is
Can you figure out which one it is? I bet you could if you looked at Blackbeard's crew.
I mean, is it Sharpshooter?
Yeah, the Sharpshooter.
Yeah.
It's literally just that guy.
Yeah,
like literally him.
I also had that thought.
So I have absolutely there's no argument to be made that Oda at one point in time. Okay, so I am not going to pretend that Oda took Pika from Brazil. That one might be a bit of a stretch. Oda literally watched this movie, was like, I like that guy. I want him in my fucking
This guy's going in my shit.
This guy's going in my shit. So when I'm watching this and I'm seeing like these kooky characters with like weird fuck off powers just playing through, I'm like, brother, these are just devil fruit. So anyway, I'm like, I might also be giving it like an extra half star because from that moment on, I'm like, basically, this is just basically fucking One
I'm
Piece,
watching
guys.
live action One Piece.
I'm watching live action One Piece right about now. Anyway, so I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I enjoyed my time with it in my adult life. I think my only critique, the only thing keeping it from really hitting that 9.0 spot is that the comedy, while fine and good and chuckle worthy, it's not like, oh my God, it's one of the best, like most comedically driven movies of all time. It's just fun. It's just dumb fun, which is why I'm still going to give it like a solid 8.
Yeah, I think it's still juvenile at its core, which is fine. Like it was meant to be a kids movie, but also there are themes in this movie that are not kids movie friendly.
So I find that I think I agree with you with an asterisk. I think the only like not kid theme would be the war element, but like, is that like the way they give you war is like, I'm going to keep using this example. The same way One Piece describes war, where you just kind of see cannon fire and nobody dies ever. You know, like, you just see explosions and everyone's like, oh no, I don't want to be near this explosion. I might get hurt. Like, I don't know if I'd say this is very mature ever.
Yeah, I mean, I would also point to potentially the abundance of sex jokes / over sexualizing women as part of the not kid friendly aspect. But
Okay, I think I would like to expand on that one as well. The only time I felt like anyone was overtly sexualized, like unnecessarily, might have been when Venus came into the picture. Other than that, it was just kind of like maybe Queen Moon. I'll give you Queen Moon, maybe, where that was like an unnecessary, but it really was just like tickle moans, I guess. Like I even thought to myself, I'm like, are they really playing this bit off if it's like them having intercourse right now and that's her moaning? Because that don't sound like the right moan. And then they literally just showed what's his name tickling her feet, and I'm like, oh, okay, no, they knew what they were doing.
It is literally that. However, the implication is very heavily on the idea that they're having sex.
But like, I feel like that joke would land more poorly if the moans were like in line with the moans they were pitching, but they weren't. Like my immediate adult brain was like, brothers, you're doing like, that's wrong. I don't think that's the right ones. Like, have you touched grass in your lifetime?
Have we done this before?
I don't like. I'm so confused. And then honestly, they got me. They really did. They got me with that bit. I was like, all right, fine, Terry, you won this one. But I mean, I do see what you're saying. I think this film does not do it at any of the capacity that Brazil did, though, and I think that's the only line in the sand I want to draw. They had a female lead in Brazil that basically had no reason to exist other than for the main character to want to screw her.
Yes.
At least in this movie, when they sort of played that off, it was with the literal goddess of, well, purity. I don't know what her actual goddess name is, but she's only ever used as like the goddess of,
Well, are you misconstruing with Aphrodite here? Or is the way, no, that, never mind. Venus is the Roman, never mind.
You see? I know my gods. I know my gods.
Right.
You see?
You're right. I mixed my cultures.
Thank you. Yeah, get cultured, idiot.
Stupid. Big L on my forehead.
But anyway, continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off and be like, actually, Kirsten, let me put my glasses up and say, I think that this was much better palatable than.
Well, I mean, it was. I am in no way trying to imply that this is as bad as Brazil, because Brazil was egregious and Imaginarium was egregious. Although I'm going to leave Imaginarium mostly to the side because it's not in this trilogy of movies. So. I mean, it's good that you did say it because it's true. It is minimal, and actually the only other instance maybe is at the beginning of the movie where he fashions a hot air balloon entirely out of women's underwear, but
which I think is a great bit.
I mean, it's hilarious. Yeah,
that's a great bit where he's just like, you know what I need? I need all of your undergarments.
I need drop your knickers, I think is the line he says, and they all contemplate the what this could mean for them, and then they agree anyway because they just want to see what happens. And it's a hot air balloon.
Listen, brother, was it a little demanding? Maybe, but I think that's technically consent. So,
well, sure, yeah. I mean,
they did agree. They did it.
They weren't. He just made a statement, said drop them.
Mm-hmm. And then he made a fucking hot air balloon out of underwear. Brother, and there was even like the points when he was like flying through the air on the cannonballs, and I'm just like, brother, this is One Piece. I'm sorry, I can't stop thinking about it.
Stop.
I keep thinking about it the whole way through. The dude who's like, ooh, I huff and I puff and I blow the men down, and then also he could like hear really well into the ground or whatever that bit was.
Yeah, that was great. He could hear his friend 900 miles away sleeping against a tree, and also know that he's got the bottle with him for some reason.
So I before we even really get into the plot, I just want to say how much I love his stupid gaggle of dudes. You got one guy with a chain link ball and chain on his ankles, and when you first see him, they're like playing cards or whatever, and like his backstory where he's about to bet with the Sultan or whatever, and you're just like, why is this guy got the old ball and chain literally tied to his ankles? What's going on with you, bud? Are you okay? And then we find out that he's like literally the Flash in this universe. He has to be able to run over 2,000 miles an hour in order to make the timing that this movie pitched to us, because he gave him an hour to go 1,000 miles to get a bottle of wine and come back. So already that has to be at least 2,000 miles. And then later, we find that he like took a 30-minute power nap or something like that, like as soon as he got the bottle of wine.
Oh, way more, dude. Like if you can just take you can just take the aspect where in the last couple of minutes of this bet, he ran 900 miles. He was 900 miles away and he made it there in like, let's say 3 minutes. So
what does that even mean? I don't even. Okay, I want to look this up really quick.
Multiply it by 20.
900 times 20. This motherfucker was running at 18,000 miles an hour. It's just silly. How much is Mach? Wait. What speed is Mach 1? I want to know. Is only 767 miles an hour. This guy was running. Hold on, I got to do the math more. Hold on. 18,000 divided by 767 divided by 767. This dude was running at Mach 23 and a half.
It's utterly ridiculous.
It's just so silly.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Mach 23 and a half.
Now you made me even more curious because you brought up specifically the Flash. What is the Flash's top speed here?
Actually, I'm gonna look this up. Yeah, Flash top. Well, apparently he can like run through time though, so like that's kind of a problem.
I mean, I'm sure he can. I'm sure he runs faster than the speed of light or whatever too. So I'm sure it's faster.
He clears this guy. His top speed is approximately the speed of light, which is 770,616,629 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Well, in order to travel through time, he breaks the speed of light in his comics. So therefore, he runs faster than the speed of light.
Right.
So he doesn't hold a candle to the Flash or whatever, but still to be running at Mach 23 and a half is still just so silly.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And this isn't even somehow this isn't even the end of it either with his band of merry goons here. So
yeah, each one has like a stupid bit where, okay, so he's the fast guy. The dwarf, the little person that's with them, he like sucks air in. Oh, also he can be a super vacuum too. He's got the suck fruit or the blow fruit, one of the two. He's got the compression fruit or something like that in his gut, and he sucks in and he blows out and it becomes like a giant gust of wind. But then simultaneously he can put his ear to the ground and then he can hear shit like 1,000 miles away, which is whatever. I guess he just does that. He's got his other buddy, his sharpshooter friend, who I believe they quoted as, this guy is such a good shot that he can shoot a pigeon from like half the world away or something. I think is what they said. I don't know what they said what he shot, but he could shoot something half the world away.
Yeah.
And he did in fact shoot a bit. Oh, this is another bit where that motherfucker, brother, I'm gonna say one piece. This is the last time, I promise. That scene where he shot a pigeon and the pigeon fell on the speedy guy when he was sleeping under the tree. Literally, when we get introduced to that goon on Blackbeard's crew, he shoots a fucking seagull that they can't see from across the world. And Usopp's like, where did that come from? Somebody shot that? That's crazy. There's no islands around us. Literally the same introduction. The same one. Anyway, sorry, I just had to say that again. And then he's got his beefy African-American friend, his beefy black friend that is just a strong guy. I don't know. He's very, very strong. And these are the characters that we will be searching for in the duration of this movie. Because this movie opens up with an acting group that is trying to recant the adventures of Munchausen, which I guess is at this point in time, like in their universe, he's just like a fictional character, like a story guy. Am I understanding this correctly? Like he's a folk tale, not a real person by the beginning of this movie.
Baron Munchausen, you're saying?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, it's very much in line that Baron Munchausen is just a folk hero that people say goes on these grand adventures. Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that he's like the Odysseus to the Odyssey. You know, like everybody might know the tales, but he's not a real guy. And then as they're performing, you know, some of his tales, which is really funny because they actually do one of the bits that happens later in the movie with the giant fish that eats him, and he's like, "Ooh, I got pepper though, so I can make him sneeze." Literally, it fucking happens later in the movie. Anyway, this old motherfucker comes barging through the doors, and he goes, "You're all idiots. This is my life, and you're making a mockery of it." Blah 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 blah. So we're like, "Oh, okay, here we go." So we got this old snot guy who is, you know, apparently the Baron Munchausen. And for whatever reason, he wants to regale us with his story, his narrative, blah blah blah. And then the theater house starts getting bombarded with bombs, and we're just like, oh, okay, I guess we're going 0 to 100 very quickly right about now. And he explains that the reason why they're being attacked is because he himself, of course, made a bet with the Sultan of Turkey, right? I guess I just assume it's Turkey. I don't know where he was the Sultan of, but the Sultan of Turkey.
It's the Ottoman Empire.
Sorry, the Ottoman Empire. Fair enough. So he makes a bet with the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, and the bet was, and he just like drew this up in his head when he was in a casual conversation with the guy. He's like, the Sultan comes out with like his finest bottle of wine, and the Baron's like, yeah, not bad. You know, probably solid like 6.5. And then the Sultan's like, "What, you got something better? You think you can find something better than this?" And he's like, for whatever reason, the Baron's like, "Brother, I will bet you I can get a bottle of the finest wine from the cellar of such and such kingdom 1,000 miles away in an hour. And if I don't, you can chop my head off." And the Sultan's like, "Well, shit, I love chopping heads off. Sure, you got a deal, brother. Let's do it."
Easiest bet of my life.
Easiest bet of my life. He probably didn't even have to give him anything. He was probably just like, sure, why not? I don't have to give you anything. You're just laying it all on the table. But the Sultan decides like, and by the way, you know what? If you accomplish this, I'll let you grab however much treasure out of my treasure vault that a single man can carry or something like that. And for whatever reason, like that was the terms of the deal. And the Sultan's like, easiest shit of my life. I love chopping heads. This is going to be great. I'm going to chop this guy's head off later. Fantastic. And I don't know why he's so excited about that either. You would think that if he's offering him his best wine, that maybe they're like, you know, sort of chill with each other. I don't know. In my mind, that was just a little silly, but regardless.
I mean, I think it was the fact that Baron Munchausen claimed that there would be a better one.
Well, right. But then wouldn't the Sultan be like, I guess in the Sultan's I don't know. In my mind, it's like the Sultan just really wants to chop a head off. It doesn't have to be Baron.
I think he just likes murder and torture, as seen by a few minutes later when he brings out the organ that just pokes people.
The organ torture chair. What a dumb grand bit. I honestly, that was a great bit. I loved that. And like I think he even, like, when it was still like making noises, like pain noises, he did like, okay, so with a real organ, there's like a valve that you can pull, like when a horn or like one of the winds like won't shut the fuck up, that will basically suffocate it of air so it can finally, you know, stop vibrating or whatever. But he does that in this, but instead he like pushes something in and it goes quiet. And in my mind, I'm just like, dude, he just stabbed a dude to death.
That guy's dead. Yeah.
that guy's big dead. But that bit kind of tickled me. I have to be honest. That was a good bit. But anyway, you know, the dude runs, he gets the wine, falls asleep. We meet all of his cronies. This is an opportunity for us to understand that all of his cronies have superpowers. Basically, he commands. He's like the Star-Lord of the Guardians of the Galaxy, where these four schmucks that have real powers for some reason follow Baron Munchausen. I don't know why, but like it's a good bit, so I'm here for it either way.
It's the charisma, man.
Yeah, apparently he's just got that riz. I don't know what it is, but he's got it. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so we meet all of his goons, and so after he successfully brings the wine, not without the hourglass that counted the hour, ting ting ting, the last grain of sand or whatever, as a visual gag for the audience. He successfully brings the wine. The Sultan loves it, and he's like, "Shit, you were right. This is way better. All right, fine. You know what? Take all the treasure you want, but only one man." And then he's like, "Bring him to the treasure vault." And Baron Munchausen's like, he doesn't even know what he just did.
in a very like, you can have one bite moment. You can have one bite of my food and you pull out the biggest spoon mankind has ever created.
So his goon, Albrecht, I believe, is his name. Bertolt is the fast guy. Albrecht is the black gentleman that is the super strong guy. Yeah, so they just basically put everything on his back, everything, and then they march out of the palace. Which, to be, brother, he followed the rules. Like there's nothing here that says he wasn't allowed to do that. He followed the rules. The Sultan drew it up. I just want to say that, this is another thing I'm kind of upset about. The Baron, he's a little slimy. I'm not going to say like he's like clean cut. He's a little slimy. He knew what he was doing. But like, also it was the Sultan's idea here. Like, you're just salty that my man has, a bouncer that can basically bench press the planet. That's on you, big guy. That's not on him. I love that bit so much. But anyway, yeah, so they leave with the treasure, and then the treasure guy goes back to the Sultan and goes like, "Oh, they took everything." And the Sultan's like, "Oh, idiot." Chops his head off. Also, the guy, while his head was chopped off, winks one of the ladies. Great bit. And then that's where it all started. We meet Gustavus with the wind blowing power. He's the dwarf, or the little person that hangs out with him. That he blew all the guards down. He huffed and he puffed. Blah blah blah. And then we cut back to old Baron telling the story, and everyone's like, "Okay." So anyway, we're still being attacked, so we're leaving.
We're fucking out of here, dude.
We're fucking out of here. And then the Baron just kind of like, all right, well, no one wants to hear my shit anymore. And I think this is when the little girl comes in. Hey, Christian, why don't you take it from here? What transpires from this moment on?
So our other pseudo main character here is this little girl named Sally, right? And she is technically part of this acting troupe in some regard. Seemingly is the daughter of the main guy who plays the Baron Munchausen in the play. So he is initially presented as not the best father out there, and even going so far as to claim that he doesn't even have a daughter by not putting her on the poster that he puts around town. And she's very salty about this, rightfully so, going around town writing daughter instead of and crossing out son on all the posters. Great, love that for her. And so this building begins to collapse, and literal death starts coming for Baron Munchausen here.
Literally, just like, death is in this movie.
Literally, the Grim Reaper comes through.
The Grim Reaper is in this movie a few times.
Yeah, and she valiantly fights him off by burning death alive, and that works. So she saves Munchausen's life, but Munchausen is very much like, "Man, why'd you do that? I just fucking."
Let me die, dude.
Let me
just
go off into the sweet night, And
yeah,
she's like, "No," and he says, "Why?" And she's like, "I need to know the end of the story." And he's like, "That's the reason? You don't even care about my individual life in particular? You just want to hear the story, bro?"
She was into it. She was really into it.
She was bought in, dude. Like, if if Baron Munchausen has one fan, it's that little girl.
Absolutely.
And that's that. So she gets kind of fed up though, and he then chases after her to try and, because she thinks that the Ottomans are the reason that she doesn't get to hear the end of the story. So she runs off to try and fight the whole army alone, and makes it as far as the city wall in order to do it. So I love this. This is the beginning of an idea that I think is supposed to partially encompass the meaning behind the movie, which is to say that I'll back up a little bit even further here. This is an idea that I've discussed in the other two movies at this point, but this trilogy of imagination that Terry Gilliam sort of unofficially cooked up here, like it was never necessarily meant to, but as time went on, it became a thing, a goal that he was reaching towards. So it's not a trilogy in the way that like a normal movie is, like The Matrix or something to that effect, or Lord of the Rings, whatever. But the idea is that the three movies are broken up as the effects of imagination on different points in your life. So childhood, middle age / adult, and then old age. So we're in the old age era here, and part of it is also not just imagination, but for Baron Munchausen, it's just dealing with getting old in the first place. So
yeah,
he is obviously a very happy-go-lucky individual, loves going on these adventures, and is super into the whimsy of just enjoying life in general. And now clearly that he's been turned, his adventures and everything that he's sort of done with his life has been turned into nothing more than an incomplete, incoherent stage play. He's just like, you know what? I'm done here. I thought that I was going to leave a greater mark on the world, and clearly I was false. I was wrong, and I've had enough. And so he's just sort of accepting death in this moment, even though he's very much conscious the whole time. Like he's just gonna let death basically just take him. And so, but then he finds reason to keep going because his little girl is so interested in hearing what he has to say or the stories that he weaves. So he finds the courage to keep going, and the Grim Reaper will make several more appearances throughout the film at varying points when it seems like the Baron is kind of losing the will to keep going sometimes.
Yeah.
And as well as this is also paired with moments where he is returned partially to his youthful days. So essentially where there are moments in the movie that he is having a good time or he feels internally young again. His outward visage reflects that. And so you'll see in a lot of moments, a la when he's with Venus in the volcano, he is young again because he feels this, I don't know, like childish, I shouldn't say childish, but like this younger version, like teenage heartthrob love for Venus, love at first sight type shit, you know?
Can I ask you, I want to cut you off really quick. So I'm going to give this bit away now since we're here. So by the end of the movie, he is younger, and then it hard cuts. I won't say what yet. I guess we're not there yet, but it hard cuts back to him telling the story back in the theater house as like the big like plot twist.
I already gave away why that happens, to be fair, in the summary.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't pay attention. Okay, so anyway, so he dies at the end of this tale, and then it hard cuts to him being old again. So was that when he became young again? Because I was like trying to like remember, because at some point in the movie, I don't think my brain registered that he was no longer the old man version of himself. I think I just like continued to watch and then accepted that he was younger and like did not blink at all.
It happens. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to ask. I'm asking you, when did that happen? When did he go from being old man to young? Because I didn't pay attention.
So it happened. It actually happened several times. So you missed this transition a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just an idiot. Okay.
Yeah, there's a few different ways that this happens. Obviously, in the flashback, he's younger because that's in the canon of the story. Yes. That's literally the past from this point.
That one I definitely got. And then he was old again when we were back in the theater house.
Correct. So he's young there, back to old. Then as they I believe as they go towards the moon, or as they land on the moon, I think when they get to the moon, I don't know if there's like a transition in there, but definitely by the time they're at the moon, he's young again. So he's younger on the moon, and then he begins to I think he ages. I'm gonna probably get this slightly wrong in some way, but I think he ages as they are thrown out of
the Matrix land,
or they leave the moon. Yeah, I think he's either, or maybe it's I think, okay, he definitely gets older when they get eaten by the fish.
Okay,
so like
he's flipping his age back and forth like as time goes on.
Basically, think of whenever he's straight up not having a good time right now, he turns older because he's
Got
feeling less
Baron Munchausen.
yeah, and more like he yearns for the grave.
He yearns for the grave.
But
The
when he's
children
having a
yearn for
good
their
time,
olds.
the children yearn for their grave. They're 6 feet under. So basically, just like at any point that he's not having a good time, a la when they're thrown into the ocean, they're eaten by the fish, so on and so forth. He's getting old. But when he's having a good time, like going to the moon to find his friend or having a waltz with the goddess of love, he becomes young.
Brother, I brain turn off. I only saw young Baron Munchausen the whole way through. I didn't even blink when old Baron came back on my screen. At least not until the very end when he was back in the theater house explaining that, and that was one of the few times, that was one of the only times I died. And I'm like, what the fuck? What happened?
Yeah. So they give you this real like story within a story within a story sort of moment where you're just sort of left thinking, well, what even was what I watched, you know? And
what even was what I watched?
And there's really no strict answer for that. That goes with the whimsy of the movie. I think that you're just supposed to take it as it is and just sort of accept that life comes with a bit of whimsy, and you should maybe on some cases address it, and it's not that serious, bro, sort of deal. So I
loved like the different places that we went on this journey between the moon, the volcano, cyclops, smelters, whoever they are, and then down into the whirlpool that leads us to the giant fish that eats us or whatever. This movie has everything about the hero's journey that I love. Are you familiar with like the Odyssey at any like major capacity? Like,
yes.
Okay, fantastic. So I mean, the Odyssey has incredible tales about Odysseus finding his way back to I don't know it's not Sparta, but he is of old Greece, I believe.
Yeah, you could just say
like
Greece.
That. Yeah, I think he's just trying to find his way back home in Greece or whatever. And there's a bunch of tales with the most famous one being like the Cyclops one, where he's like, oh, nobody blinded me, or the Cyclops trying to tell his dad Poseidon. I believe his dad's Poseidon in that, or maybe it was Zeus. I don't remember. One of the gods. He's trying to tell one of the gods that he was blinded by Odysseus, and then Odysseus goes like, oh, my name's nobody, and then the Cyclops is yelling to the gods like, nobody blinded me, and then the gods are like, okay, so you did it to you, like, what happened? Like, so I can't do anything, so there's nothing I can do, nobody blinded you. What a dumb play on words. But that's one of the most famous ones. There's another one where he gets caught by sirens. There's another one where he finally does get back to Greece, and he like proves who he is by doing an archery contest. Like he like shoots an arrow into into his first arrow, and I think he even does it like a third time because only Odysseus could do that.
Not only that, but they're shot through 12 axe heads. So like axe heads that have a hole in them, and it flies so straight and true that it goes through all 12 and also splits the other arrows.
Great bits. Honestly, I did not realize when rewatching this movie that it's commentary on a few different things, I'm sure, but in a large part it is just commentary on the hero's journey, like Beowulf, the Odyssey, which are some of my favorite as an adult, like things to now. I wouldn't reread them today because they're too fucking long for me, and a lot of the time the languages don't really work, but I loved them when I was in English class back in high school. Let me tell you, they were fantastic.
Big hit.
Also, can I tell you, Christian,
Go on.
I gotta do it to you at least one more time. There's at least one more One Piece reference in this, and it is that the Moon People have the exact same visages as the Celestial Dragons in One Piece, and I couldn't not see it.
That's a good
I could
point.
not stop seeing it.
That's a good point.
I had to do it to you.
I briefly looked up because I knew that you were not going to be able to resist One Piece referencing again at any point. Because you said it was going to be that you were going to be done after the last one, and I knew that was a lie, a filthy lie.
I had one more in the hopper that I needed
so
to.
I quickly Googled the Van Augur, the character from One Piece, comparison, and other people have definitely made this. So you are not alone. Rest assured that there are other nerds out there like yourself and me that have made this comparison, and
there are dozens of us.
In the same, there are dozens, literally dozens.
Dozens.
In the same Reddit thread that I found, somebody also compared the fact that, and I would have never remembered this on my own. So shout out to this person on Reddit. The fact that on Sabaody, Kizaru rides in on a cannonball.
So I did see it, but so Baron Munchausen was dragged by a cannonball, though, right? He didn't ride a cannonball like Kizaru did.
Well, on the way. So if you want to follow Munchausen's logic, he was dragged along by a mortar shell, but he rode a cannonball back.
Okay.
He didn't ride it the same way. He was not standing on it like Kizaru, but
okay. Yeah.
Everything's not a 1-to-1 here. Even your Van Auger comparison is not completely 1-to-1 because what's the guy's name from the movie we just watched? Even
Adolphus.
Adolphus doesn't shoot a bird to wake up what's his face. He shoots an apple.
I thought it was a bird. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure it was a fucking bird.
Nah, he shoots an apple off the tree and it lands on him.
Brother, I'm gonna rewatch the scene. I'm like 99% sure a feathered creature came down and smacked him in the head.
I don't think it's true.
All right, well, I'll do that one as a side project when we're done with this tonight. Either way, what good. Hey, now that I'm looking at it too, Albrecht, the black dude he's got on his crew, he kind of has a resemblance to Miss Valentine's Day. No, not Valentine's Day. Miss Wednesday from the Baroque works. You know the one I'm talking about? The one that was just like the strong lady from back in Whiskey Peak.
That's not Wednesday, is it? Is it Miss Wednesday, Vivi?
Or maybe it was Miss Monday. Might be I do know
who you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure Wednesday is Vivi.
I think Wednesday is Vivi. I think you were correct. So I meant to say Miss Monday, but either way, like a light resemblance, just a little one. Anyway,
perhaps.
I ain't gonna keep forcing One Piece references out of this, but also, I do think that my man stole a few things from this movie.
100%. Also, did you notice who Venus was? The actress?
Uma Thurman. The Uma Thurman. A very, well, I shouldn't say very, a younger Uma Thurman than what we're probably mostly used to at this day and age.
Substantially. In fact, this movie, this role actually marks her first acting
credit
role.
Really?
It is technically not her first credit because Baron Munchausen ran into a lot of production problems, and so her first movie that like chronologically that came out, her debut as it were, is actually a different movie. It's called Kiss Daddy Goodnight, that she is the main protagonist in.
I'm so sorry, Uma. I have no idea what that movie is.
However, I have no idea what this film is. However, it is this movie. Her role in this movie is the first role she was hired for. Like she went out, auditioned, and this is the first ever role she got. However, the movie released later than her first debut movie.
Also, I'm also looking at the reviews of Kiss Daddy Goodnight.
Mm-hmm.
Uma, does not look like you came out strong.
Yeah, it was not. And even the next one, Johnny Be Good.
Buscemi's in this movie too? Oh, fuck, dude. That sucks.
3.7 on IMDb for those wondering.
Yikes.
Yeah, not the best.
That's a yikes for me, dog.
But anyway, so that was fun fact. So there's as opposed to a lot of the Terry Gilliam's movies we've watched previously, or I should say the two others in the Imagination trilogy, there are well-known actors in it already from especially European audiences and Monty Python fans. But now we're seeing some more mainstream actors and actresses. Uma Thurman's at the beginning of her career, but Robin Williams is here, as previously mentioned as well. So we're
the only reason I watched this movie as a child was because Robin Williams was in it.
It's literally the only reason he had context for it, in fact. Actually, Robin Williams did this movie for free as well.
I bet he did. And you know what was weird? I didn't see him credited in the credits.
That's because he wasn't.
Oh, he wasn't even credited.
Nope, he was straight up. He was straight up not credited. I forget why. I remember reading. I think he was like very last minute addition to the movie, and also they had no budget, which is part of the production woes. So, like at the point where the budget had already run out, I think this is another case of somebody just really wanting to be in the movie, and so Robin Williams just decided to do it for free. I will say I'm going to speak lightly on some budget stuff here, but Brendan, I want you to know that I don't actually know what the numbers are, so your game is safe later. I just
fantastic.
I just
I
know
would've been so
general
worried.
ideas about the problems that they ran into. So I'm gonna recount a little bit of them here since it's kind of being brought up. So I think one of the funniest, not for them but for us now retroactively, one of the funniest things about all of the problems that they had is that they were severely over budget before they'd shot in a single fucking frame in this movie. They hadn't shot a goddamn thing, and they were several $1 million over whatever their budget is.
Oh no. Was it just like set designs or something?
So from a lot of what I can see was kind of much like what's going on right now, they were trying to shoot during an extreme heat wave, and they just could not make significant progress even after a few weeks of shooting. So there was, and then obviously they have all this stuff rented out, and they keep trying to make progress, but money is just hemorrhaging from them as they have this rental equipment just out at all times and rented for far longer than they wanted. And so then they got to stop, and they got to find new places to shoot, and they got to move everybody to these new places to shoot internationally. Even like they shoot in Europe and in several countries in Europe, I should say. So they all of these production woes and budget mishaps lead to a lot of problems and delays for the film. So
well,
they also at one point had to deal with a lawsuit with I think the director. So there was a version of, so Baron Munchausen is not the movie we just watched is not the original version of this. There's also books from the 18th century basically that sort of outline the character of Baron Munchausen, who in turn is based off of a 18th century actual German noble whose name was Munchausen also.
I did not know any of this, by the way. This is interesting to me.
Yeah, so there's a book in the 18th century called Baron Munchausen's Narrative of His Marvelous Travels and Campaigns in Russia. And because in the story he fights for Russia in the some war, I forget now off the top of my head. There's so many different versions of this that I'm losing myself in the story now. But basically, all that to say that there was an interpretation in the earlier mid 1900s that somebody had done, and they thought this movie was using that film's script and narrative points as part of the film we just watched, and they had to argue that they were actually using the original book narrative. And then this motherfucker was trying to get like $300 million from them or something insane like that.
Sakes, dude, like come on, man.
It
ain't worth that.
From like each person too. This guy was reaching for the fucking stars. Like of the 3 or 4 people in charge of making this movie, Gilliam's included, along with 2 other people, he was trying to get $300 million from each of these people. Talk about greedy asshole. So anyway, that's also dealing with the lawyer and legal proceedings of all of this also sets back the timeline, and they have to spend money on lawyers and shit like that again. So yeah. A lot of problems for Baron. But they got there.
Blew the budget before they even fucking shot a single scene.
a single frame, dude. They hadn't shot a single second of the movie, and they were $2 or $3 million over budget.
Yeah, I hate to see it, brother. Yeah, I hate to see it.
Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, we've taken a long detour to basically say that Sally is the Baron Munchausen. She's like the through line. She's the Baron Munchausen equivalent of the boy from Time Bandits, more or less, who's just kind of the normal ass person along for the whimsical ride, and
the Kobe of the team, if you will.
Yeah, kind of. Shut the fuck up.
I had to do it to him.
I know.
That's a One Piece reference, folks. In case you didn't know.
If you guys are here and have made it through to this part of the film, or excuse me, our rendition of the film, our recording of this film, and didn't know that we have a One Piece podcast, go listen to One Piece for the Lime.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you could have found this without that one first as a prereq, but if you did,
I'm sure they're out there. But if you like One Piece, go listen to that.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why they don't listen to us in the first place about One Piece, because
they like, well, they came here for as a respite from One Piece.
This is proof that live action One Piece can work. This movie right here.
Yeah, the live action One Piece is real type shit.
Man, fuck's sakes, dude. So silly. Honestly, had such a good time. But I think for the most part we covered like all the major story beats. I think we cover like the introduction to all the main characters. The long and short of it is our main guy, Baron Munchausen, takes us through this journey, this tale, collecting his goons. Eventually confronts the Sultan at the end of his story, and his big idea is to be like, well, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to turn myself in, and then you guys are going to have to figure it the fuck out. And to be fair to him, they do. A bit of a bold strategy, Cotton, but it did pan out for him. And then they beat the Sultans with his ragtag group of mischievants, or whatever the fucking word is. I forget the word.
Miscreants.
That's the one. Thank you. Brains turn off sometime. But it happens. Can I also say, when they were on the moon, though, this is actually probably one of my favorite bits in this movie. As soon as they fly away on the hot air balloon and he's like, we're going to the moon. I didn't remember how this bit played out, but a couple different things happen. He's sailing through the clouds at one point. Lightning happens, rain happens. The campfire in the lookout's nest, or in the crow's nest that he's using to make new heat to inflate the balloon, that gets doused, and then the ship starts falling, and then it just miraculously lands on water. So there's a sea in the sky apparently that you could just casually use to sail to the moon. And the moon's a crescent. It is not a full moon. It is very specifically a crescent. More on that later.
Yeah.
Gets to the moon, talks to the queen and king of the moon. Their bit is they can float, their heads can float around and do their own thing while the bodies also do their own things. But apparently Robin Williams' body is just like a sex magnet or something, and he wants the head wants nothing to do with him, and then the body like tries to trap him back on the neck region every so often. That's kind of a funny bit. I do think that's kind of funny.
It is, yeah. I love the idea that they can just detach themselves from it, and the head just basically has its own personality when it's separated. The wife, the queen of the moon, seems to be fairly similar regardless of whether her head is on or not, but he's got a Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing going on when it comes to detaching and unattaching his head.
Yeah, he's definitely got a Jekyll and Hyde thing. The queen seems relatively chill, all things considered. At least the head and the body seem to be on the same wavelength, whereas the head and the body of the king could not be more different.
Yeah, the head and the body of the queen both want Baron Munchausen and not the husband.
Just stupid, silly.
Which ends up being a theme throughout the entire film. Baron Munchausen is just like a Mr. Steal Your Girl kind of guy.
Yeah, but like he's like endearingly not like a piece of shit about it. Like he's just kind of like a guy who also hands a rose out to an attractive woman once in a while. That's fine. That's just a man with some riz. I respect that. And then
a man with riz for other people's wives only. I guess that's not true because there's the women from the troop too. But
yeah, he rises up the women from the troop. He's just a lover of the women. If anything, he's just like the guy that you loved from that other movie with Leonardo DiCaprio that we watched. He just a lot less physically active, if anything. The man in the iron mask, the musketeer guy that you like. Yeah. That guy. But But anyway, he collects his first man, Bertolt. Also, he doesn't remember who he is. He eventually does. But they get away and they start literally climbing down the moon. And that's not the silly part, because you're already thinking okay, we're gonna. Oh, I think the queen gave them hair or something like that to make a rope out of, and that's how they start climbing down. Is they just start climbing down her hair. Love that bit. That's some Gulliver's Travel shit right there. And then they're climbing down, and then the Baron goes like, "You first, Bertolli's like, well, fuck me, I guess. Sure, I'll go first." And then Sally goes after, and then the Baron's on top, and he gets to the end. Also, everything around them is like, a fucking screensaver from like Windows 95. I don't even know what's happening. This bit,
like the green pipes.
It was so jarring that they were just like in this like Matrix fairy tale land. I don't even know what was happening. And as they're climbing down the moon, and the Baron's like, the Bertolt is like, well, there's nothing I can do. We're at the end. And Baron's like, here's some more. And then Bertolt's like, wait a minute. Where'd you get this? And he's like, well, I cut it from the top, obviously. And he's like, and then they're like, they're running the numbers. They're running the numbers in real time. And I'm just like, yes. And honestly, I bet it would have worked all the way down if fucking Sally didn't fuck it for the rest of them, because I'm pretty sure the only reason that physics came in and got re-involved in the equation is because Sally looked up and saw that the rope was no longer attached to the moon, and she was like, oh no, we're gonna fall. And then sure as shit, they start falling. Honestly, Sally ruined it for them. The Baron was like, the Baron had it all sorted. He's like, physics can't get you if you don't acknowledge it.
Yeah, it's very, very like Looney Tunes ass moment where you'd only start falling until you notice you're standing off the edge of the cliff already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think this happens a couple of times with Sally where she points things out that are utterly nonsense that either Baron or someone else is doing, and then the illusion breaks.
Exactly.
So it's this weirdly opposite thing where the child normally is usually the one with the overactive imagination coming up with these grand scenarios where crazy things are happening just because fuck you, like physics doesn't apply here. And so there's this neat little juxtaposition between her and the Baron, where the Baron is this older person, supposed to be more filled with wisdom, world traveled, has lived their life full of wisdom, so on. And the child is supposed to be thinking of all these wacky scenarios, but the roles are flipped here. Basically, she's constantly being like, Baron, for the last time, we got to get back to the town. The Ottomans are going to overrun everything. And he's like, they're fine. There's literally nothing, no problem. They got all the time in the world. And then the movie will immediately hard cut to the Ottomans overrunning some other part of the town.
What a dumb bit. I mean, it was funny, but it was a dumb bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like these are the little touches that make a movie like this have more worth and meaning. Like this is the stuff that makes Terry Gilliam's movies better, in my opinion.
I totally agree.
Over the social commentary stuff. Like he does the whimsical, wacky stuff, more like Monty Python, where he originates from and got his start from. Stuff like that he does well, along with all these other guys. The other social commentary stuff goes a little bit worse. By a little bit, I mean a lot.
I think I totally agree with you. Two big things that make this movie so much better than Brazil is that A, he doesn't do all that social commentary because this film just doesn't need it. It's just supposed to be like a fun, dumb time. And two, he successfully wrote decent women because he didn't put any of them in the leads. He didn't fuck it up.
Yeah,
he wrote a child as a lead, as a woman lead, but he can't be weird with that. You can't get away with being weird with that, or people are really going to start talking there, Terry. So I think you successfully made a movie where you didn't fuck up a female lead because you didn't cast one. Is what happened.
Because you didn't. Yeah, I mean, it's a real it's kind of a catch-22. It's like, can't make the bad female lead or protagonist if you just don't write one in the first place.
You're an imperfect director because you can't figure it out, but at
Like-
least in this movie you didn't fail at it
Yeah.
because by proxy.
Like maybe at some point you should have learned how to do this, but apparently you just didn't bother, and so you took the easy way out and just decided not to write one in the first place. Which, you know, at least you made it halfway. You at least didn't offend me this time. On that
Congratulations! I came out of this movie unoffended.
Yeah.
What a low fucking bar.
Truly though.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna even I'll do a One Piece bit here too. Even the giant fish thing is like
I was gonna say, but I held off. I swear to God, I held off.
What if, you know, giant goldfish, giant whatever fish? How do they get out of that goldfish? I don't remember.
Well, it was Baron, Dory and Broggy. They did a big fuck off attack, and that basically shot a giant shockwave that opened a big hole in its stomach.
So not quite the same as feeding it chewing tobacco, but
no,
potato,
not quite
honestly.
the same.
Yeah,
not quite. Although you could argue, how did they get out of the fish in the special we watched recently? You remember the one with like the gold in the fish stomach, the one that made you live forever? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh gosh, I don't.
How'd they get out of that fish?
I don't remember.
I can't remember how they got out of the damn fish. Well, I guess I got to rewatch it. Well, nah. Well,
How did Luffy get out of the giant serpent in Skypiea? Didn't he make it sneeze or something, or did he just punch the shit out of it?
I think he made it vomit, if memory serves. That's a great question. I don't remember how he got out of the snake. I think about it.
I think he just like punched the fuck out of its insides and made it throw up.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna stop digging for One Piece references now. I think we've, I think we about did it, right? We've covered a lot of the major story beats here.
Not my hot take. My overall take. Great time, super fun flick. I could easily rewatch this alongside Time Bandits anytime. Maybe not like all the time, but I could definitely do a rewatch of this at some point in time. It was fun. Very, very fun.
Yeah, I'd take a rewatch of Baron Munchausen. I'd watch it before Time Bandits for sure. Time Bandits was good, but I think that this one provides a more holistically fun experience over Time Bandits for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, shoot, you know, Christian, believe it or not, it is that time. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I have a bit of a so it's funny that you mention that they blew the budget, right? Believe it or not, I also knew this take, and I have two numbers. In fact,
I was so hoping this was going to be the case.
I have, believe it or not, it sounds like you probably do. I have a budget that they originally started with and a budget that they inevitably got. Now, I didn't know all the details behind like why the budget had changed, but or even that they didn't film a single scene with the original budget. But I do have the original budget and the latter budget. Christian, my question to you, would you like to play a game with both?
I would love to play a game with both.
Okay, well then, Christian, this, my friend, I will ask you, what was the original intended budget for this film? Would you like me to, as a you know, like a helpful hand, would you like me to give you the original budget for Brazil? You know, the film that came just prior, the one that really should be like the rubric for how much money they're willing to give Terry. Because if you don't remember, Brazil did not do very well.
No, and also had probably a lot more going on than this one.
Listen, you're the guesser, not me.
Yeah, lay it on me.
All right, so the original budget of Brazil was 15 million, and they did not need more money. They made it happen on 15. All you know, 2.5 hours of that.
Yeah,
on 15 million. So my friend, what do you think that executives, after the absolute flop that Brazil was, how much money you think they wanted to give Terry to make this movie?
15 mil. I'm gonna say that they originally gave Munchausen $10 million.
$10 million. Okay,
I
so
think
you
they gave.
so
I
you
think
think they
gave him
only
a
lopped
little
off like
less.
30%. You think like, all right, listen, buddy, we tried it your way. We wanted to make a big blockbuster. You didn't return on investment. We're not willing to commit that much money for you this time.
That is what I'm saying.
All right. Well, Christian, you're dead wrong, brother. They gave him 23.5 million to make this fucking movie.
23 at the start. Oh my!
That's what I'm saying. They gave him an extra 8. He has basically no proof of return on investment at this point in time.
And then they blew it all, and then some. Oh God!
All right, Christian. I unfortunately,
oh, God.
my following question has to be: they blew through the 23.5 million up front. What did they need to actually complete this movie?
I know. Oh my God. Okay. So I know they blew 23.5 and then went another 3 million over before even starting. So that's a base of 26 mil before the movie touched any semblance of reality.
They made Brazil on 15 million, by the way.
Fuck me, dude. I can tell you right now, there's no way this movie made money. So I'm gonna let you know right now, there's no way in hell my guess is gonna be for positive money for them.
What gave it away?
Fuck off. I'll say 30. No, God. $38 million was their final budget.
38 million.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna say it
recap,
took him another 12 mil.
After he blew through the 23.5, he begged studio execs, and you think they gave him, you said 33.5?
38.
38. So they gave him an additional 15 million off the top for this movie.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well, brother, sometimes truth is even weirder than fiction. They gave him 46.6.
Oh my God.
They gave him another 23
they
million.
It. Oh.
They doubled the budget. Original budget.
I was gonna say let's just double it and give it to the next guy, but then I was like, there's no shot they doubled it, man.
I am shocked that they did this. Yes, the original budget being 23.5 million. After it failed to even make a movie on that, they decided to give him an extra 23 million. I just find that silly. So, Christian, I think your initial impression that this movie did not make money might be a little founded. I'm gonna be that guy. I think you're sniffing this one out pretty well.
Christ. Okay.
My question to you, of course, as it always is, now that you know how much money the budget was for, how much money did it actually make?
I know Brazil made like, I don't know, like half or some shit like that of their budget. This movie, they spent triple the amount of money.
Right.
And Brazil was already a flop. So people are already like, what the fuck is this Gilliam's guy doing? I'm gonna say, fuck, man. I'll say,
dude. I know, brother.
I'm gonna say they completely tanked and hit 13 mil.
Ooh, man, 13 mil. So you think functionally it made basically half the original budget for a total return of only 25% on the whole.
That is what I'm saying.
Ooh, man. But you know what, Christian? Sometimes, once again, truth is even greater than fiction. It got only $8 million. $8 million.
Oh my God.
For context, the original Brazil movie, the one that came out before this one with Terry Gilliam at the helm, had a budget of 15, as we've said. It did return 10, right? So it almost made its budget back, but it was a flop. All things said and done, it's a flop. Yeah, this one made 8 on a $46 million fucking budget. Oh man. In fact, I want to look up how much Time Bandits made. I bet Time Bandits beat this movie. If I'm going to be so honest.
I know for a fact Time Bandits made more money.
Time Bandits Wikipedia. Give me a sec. Time Bandits. Let's see. The budget was $5 million. Well, this is why they wanted to bet on him, because they wanted to hit the lottery.
Yeah.
His budget in Time Bandits was $5 million. The box office for that shit was 42.
Yeah. Yeah. Time Bandits went crazy for him.
I didn't realize Time Bandits had that dog in it, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's a fun flick, but I didn't think it was that much of a return. Fuck. Well, that's why the studio execs agreed to it in the first place, because they want to hit that lottery. They were like, but man, what if he gets that Time Bandits money? Then we're gonna be fucking
what if it happens again, guys? What if we're gonna strike lightning?
Dude, they're like GME out here.
Ain't no way, dude.
Well, I would say I am not sorry that Brazil tanked. I'm just not.
I'm not sorry either. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I am a little sorry that this movie tanked as bad as it did, because I do think that it is at least equal to Time Bandits, if not maybe even a little bit better. So that is actually a little sad to say, but it's really funny. It is really funny. I don't understand how this guy even makes more movies, honestly. Like after this point, he should be done. Like Hollywood should be like, absolutely not. You are a fucking you waste money. At this point, I think he's broke even functionally on like what he has brought as a return for his movies. Like of these 3 movies, when you put them together, he is now like he's at a wash.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy.
He only did one. He didn't. That's a short. I briefly looked up his directing credits here, and I thought that he had done one other thing between somewhere in here, but it was actually just like a short film, so like it barely doesn't really count. Yeah, he Time Bandits, Brazil, Munchausen. And Time Bandits is the least highly reviewed of any of them. People like Brazil more than both of those movies,
which is crazy, because Brazil sucks. No offense, Brazil sucks.
Brazil's garbage. Although we have not watched yet the highest rated, at least on IMDb, but I think it's fairly. I mean, outside of Monty Python,
the Death of Don Quixote or whatever.
No. Actually, that's his most recent movie from 2018 is The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. But his outside of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, one of the other films that I keep seeing is most highly rated, and I've now conferred this with IMDb, is 12 Monkeys, actually.
Oh yeah, I did know that, actually.
Which actually does sound. I mean, I'm sure it's got some Gilliam isms to it, but the premise of the movie at least sounds pretty cool. So I maybe, and it's got Brad Pitt in it, so, and Bruce Willis for that matter. So like, this sounds like it's probably a cool movie. Got more sci-fi element to it, probably a little more serious than the whimsical thing. So I know that sounds like a recipe for disaster given what Brazil was, but who knows? People have faith.
I honestly just can't even believe that this guy was able to make movies after these 2 flopped, though. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like somebody gave him money 3 years later to make another movie.
Yeah, they did.
Wild.
And then they gave him money for another movie 3 after that, and then 4 after that, and then 3 after that.
I will say, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, I'd be surprised if it didn't make money, because I do remember liking that movie when I saw it. I didn't even know that was Terry Gilliam until I looked up his movies just now. I think I learn this every time I look up Terry Gilliam movies. It is not retaining in my memories.
Well, Brennan, on the subject of other people's opinions of the movie Adventures of Baron Munchausen, it is now time for my half of the bargain here. I've got 5 good old Letterboxd reviews for you.
Let's go.
I'm going to read them for you, and we're going to find out what people thought of this movie.
I'll
say
I'm ready.
Off the top of the dome, or right at the top of the segment, this movie has an average star rating of 3.7 on Letterboxd.com.
Okay.
So generally pretty above average reviews. Most people falling into that 3 to 4-star range for the most part. Fairly straightforward. And so without further ado here, I'm gonna start reading what this with this year's, I almost said summary for some reason, this year review here.
I'm locked in. All right, hey, wait. What was my Terry Gilliam rating? It was if the review is nice, it's always add half, and if the review is mean, always reduce a half.
Yeah. That seemed to work. That seemed to work fairly well for you last time. And I tried to take this to Justin, although he was A, far less receptive to doing extra math, and B, it didn't end up working very well either. So I had hoped that maybe calling this like referring to this as like the Letterboxd differential or something like that.
Yeah.
Might work, but it seems like it might just be the Gilliam's differential. So we'll see how that goes, starting with this review here.
Yes, sir.
A chaotic, good old-fashioned fantastical adventure film that is way too horny and existential to be categorized as a children's film, but way too cartoonish and tactile to feel like anything but shades of The Fall and Hook and Big Fish on Acid, 3 other movies that I have no idea about. Loved it. Hook. Sure, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense at parts, but I could watch this on mute and probably enjoy it just as much.
Yeah.
Eric Idle is having the time of his damn life here.
Yeah, he is. That's Baron Munchausen, by the way.
No, that's Bertold.
Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah.
John Neville is Baron Munchausen.
You are absolutely correct. I'm so sorry.
Couldn't possibly unpack the politics of the Europe versus Ottoman War that acts as the background of the film, so I will not. The design and practical nature of this movie is just awe-inspiring. Makes me want to drink a cold glass of lemonade on the porch and complain about how they don't make movies like they used to.
All right. I'm gonna be honest. If I was to guess anyway, I think I'd just call that a 5 out of 5. So the Terry constant be damned. It's 5 out of 5.
It's not a good start for the Terry differential. This was actually a 4-star review.
That's a little crazy. That's honestly wild. I think the Terry Constant was not at fault here on this one. This guy gave it probably one of the best reviews you could possibly give a film in its entirety, and then was like, 8.
8 out of 10. Got a little something for everyone.
Got a little something for everyone. Yeah, that's a true IGN moment right there. Fuck me, dude. All right, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck you, guy.
Yeah. All right. So this one, this person says, I avoided this for a long time because it honestly didn't look like anything that I'd like. I love Terry Gilliam and the cast is amazing. Full actors I love, but I was correct in my thinking that this just isn't for me. Too heavy on the fantasy, too light on the comedy. The sci-fi elements are outweighed by the hokiness. Also, it didn't need to be over 2 hours long. I was 10 when this came out, and I doubt even then I'd have liked it much, unlike my childhood fondness for Time Bandits, which is crazy to me. They're the same fucking movie.
They are basically the same movie. I think Baron Munchausen might even clear it on like a few merits.
I agree. And I saw a bunch of people in their reviews comparing it to Time Bandits and being like, these two movies are very similar. They do a lot of the same things. And that's why I like both of these movies. And then I saw this person and they were like, yeah, I don't really like Munchausen, but Time Bandits is my shit. And I'm like, have you watched both of these movies? Like, really though?
He watched Time Bandits, but he only watches Time Bandits with nostalgia glasses. Baron Munchausen is on its own merits.
Apparently so, yeah.
I think, I'm going to be honest, I think it's a 2.5, but I'm going to add the Terry constant. It's a 2-star review.
Is that your final answer?
2-star final answer.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
No, is it a 2.5? Is it 2.5?
The constant drew you in and spit you back out this time. That was, in fact, a 2.5-star review.
Oh, no, not like this.
You were led astray by the Terry constant.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no. I was really hoping that this would work out, but it seems like the Terry constant might have been a one-hit wonder with Brazil.
The Terry constant giveth, the Terry constant taketh away.
There's 3 more reviews, so it's not to say it's over, but we've got a chance here. This person says, a movie about how imagination can save us and bring comfort in the worst of times. Baron Munchausen is a romantic who doesn't take reality too seriously. He's a storyteller and an adventurer. I loved this movie as a kid, and it still holds up. Although it was way more existential and a lot hornier than I remember, lol. The practical effects and visuals are beautiful and whimsical. You can really see Gilliam's vision. Death was creepy, and everyone was really hamming it up. A lot of fun and a charming movie, fantasy movie. Love, period.
Okay. I feel like that's a 4.5, which means with the Terry constant, it would be a 5. But I'm going to choose not to add the Terry constant here. I wish to make it a 4.5 out of 5.
You're sure?
I am sure.
I think the Terry constant might be dead. That was a 5-star review. or maybe
that means I needed the Terry constant.
That means you did need the Terry constant. You're right.
I needed the Terry constant.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. You even said it. You were like, I think this with the Terry constant, this should be a 5. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
that was a certified constant moment.
That was a certified constant moment. Okay, so maybe no, because the first one, no, stupid.
stupid. Yeah, the first one, the constant wouldn't have saved you because you guessed 5 on a 4.
Correct.
Oh
man.
All right. Well, there's still time to recover with 2 more reviews here.
Take me there, Christian.
Take me there. This person says, Terry Gilliam is an endlessly creative, borderline unhinged director, and even when the narrative gets away from him, the visual spectacle and the worlds he crafts are always incredibly entertaining. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen is a very strange film, even for Gilliam, with a loose episodic plot and an incredibly talented cast with supporting roles from Jonathan Pryce, Oliver Reed, Uma Thurman, and Ray D. Tuto, who is that's the credit that Robin Williams truly gets at the end of the film.
Got it.
Gilliam's early films often capture such a brilliantly tangible sense of childlike wonder, and Baron Munchausen is no exception. Almost dreamlike in its construction, and with such an imaginative and expressive style, the film is truly madcap adventure like no other.
Madcap adventure. I mean, that's a raving review. Are there 2 5s in this list? Now I'm leaving Terry's constant behind. This is me. It's just me. It's me and you right now. I would be shocked if you brought a second. No, actually, no, I wouldn't. You would do that to me. You would fuck with my head like that. You'd be like, oh yeah, just to let you know, there's an average of a 3.7 on Letterboxd right now, and then this motherfucker walks in with 2 5 stars on this fucking. I am going to, I'm gonna double down. 4.5. It's 4.5. It has to be
4.5 stars, and he says it has to be.
It has to be.
Well, Brendan, I'm happy to inform you that you are correct in that you should have left the constant behind, but wrong in your star rating. This was a 3.5 star review.
What?
I know.
What?
I know.
What? Okay, honestly, fuck the Terry. People are stupid. I'm back to people are stupid again.
This is full effect Letterboxd reviewer mode now.
Oh my god, dude! What the fuck, man? Y'all are idiots. Y'all know how to rank anything.
Y'all don't even know. All right,
let's round out the end, Christian. What do we got?
Last call. This bombed at the box office, and all I can say is that for the first time ever, the general audience was right. This movie is trash, and it appears that sans Monkey and Brazil, trash is all Gilliam is capable of making. To be clear for you in the audience, he's quoting that Monkeys in Brazil are works of art. I keep watching his movies in the vain hope that one day I will discover something appealing about them, to no avail. This film is well and truly horrible, and I hope that one day studio execs will finally stop giving this old bastard money.
I mean, it's a low star. It's a low star. I'm going to say a 1/2 star review. I'm going for it. I'm going for the big one. I'm going for it. Big one. Big money, big money, big money.
Big money, all or nothing. Well, Brendan, you finally did it. That was a 0.5 star review.
We fucking did it, brother.
We got there. All it took was like an objectively awful review for the movie.
Oh man,
this person. I mean, I can't. I mean, I haven't watched Monkeys, so I can't say. But this person holds Brazil as like the tippy top of Gilliam's film making, and I can't agree
could not
less.
understand why. I disagree. Wholeheartedly disagree. This movie clears anything Brazil tried to do. No offense to Brazil. No offense to people like Brazil.
Yeah.
This movie, what it wanted to accomplish, it actually did. Brazil, I don't even know what it was trying to accomplish, to be totally fucking honest with you.
Yeah, and it's a review like this that places 12 Monkeys, a movie that I'm mildly interested in watching one day, and Brazil, a movie I never want to watch again. And putting them on the same level makes me not want to watch Monkeys a little bit.
Well,
it makes me scared for what 12 Monkeys actually turns out to be, because the idea of 12 Monkeys, just reading a brief synopsis, sounds like fun, but so did Brazil. Brazil sounded like a good movie too, but the actual execution of it was not. So
pretty poor.
So there's
pretty
that.
Poor.
But yeah, so not Brendan, we've seen better days, and the Terry constant, I think maybe is a little flawed. I'm just gonna say it.
It's flawed.
It's a little flawed, and maybe we'll come back to it one day. I don't know if It's Me Rabbit is planning on continuing his Gilliam streak, or he just really wanted us to watch the Imagination trilogy.
That is interesting. We did watch all three of the Terry Gilliam. I wonder if he drew it up that way too, or like we talked about it, and then he's like, well, I gotta make him watch all three. Okay.
I can guarantee you he intended us to watch all three of these movies at least. I think his plan is to move on to something else now. He just is a big fan of early Gilliam's, so which is fine. I 2 out of 3 is good. 66%
bad. 2 out of 3
66% is good. We stumbled in the middle with Brazil, but that's fine. We're here for it, and thank you. Since I brought you up already, I'm gonna double back again. Thank you, It's Me Rabbit, for recommending this movie this month, and for your continued support. We love you. You're gorgeous. And I'm excited for you to hear this one after we tore apart Brazil last time. So I think that he was disappointed. He was disappointed when I spoke to him that we didn't like Brazil, but I think he's going to be happy that we liked this one because we enjoyed Time Bandits. So
I did feel bad because it does suck when somebody who pays to have us watch one of their favorite movies and we're just like, brothers, it was not for us. It just wasn't for us. We are not the target audience.
Yeah. So shout out It's Me Rabbit one last time, and I'm sure you enjoyed your time with this one. That being said, if you would like to contact us on social medias, you can do so on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all at Panda Sightings. If you'd like to send us an email, tell us your opinions of movies, ask us any questions about let us know what other parallels in this movie you found to One Piece. You can email us at pandasighting.
Do that.
Do so at pandasightings@gmail.com. If you'd like to be like It's Me Rabbit and any of our other producers and our other people who give us money on the monthly, you can join our Discord, where we have the membership services integrated into it. So you can not only support us, but you can also join a community of lovely, lovely people that are mostly there to talk about One Piece. But we also do a lot of community events, and us as the podcast, people hang out in there all the time. So you can talk to us a lot more directly and more immediately, as well as, all of these other people. And it's a great time. If you would be so kind, you could give us 5 stars anywhere you listen to. Oh, we still have the Redbubble shop open. As I'm sure you're aware, we had a merch drop last month, and that has since ended. And now we have some of those designs on the Redbubble. It's great. They're fun. They'll be there until the end of time. Even after the inevitable heat death of the world, our Redbubble shop will still be standing, and you can buy stickers. Don't ask me how it works. I don't even know. I just know that it's going to be a thing.
Impressive.
We paid for the premium, so that's what we're going to get.
Crazy.
And that's it. Thank you for joining us.
I think that's it.
Thank you for joining me, Brendan.
No, thank you for joining me as we experience live action One Piece once again. If anything,
I don't know why Netflix is taking so long.
I don't know why Netflix is taking so long. Honestly, like they should just call Terry up like yesterday and then just have him draw everything up. I bet he could get it done. He could get everything done. He's got the vision.
Yeah.
Dude, they're about to do what? Alabasta? Dude, I bet Terry could write a mean VV. Don't you think? Don't you think?
I think I'm gonna say no comment.
Well, you know, we did what we could, guys. We did what we could.
He does. I think he does especially bad with teenage girls.
Well, I don't know much about that. You have more context on that than I do, and I don't really want to pry on that, to be totally
No,
honest
you're just
with
gonna
you.
have to take my word for it, or listen to our episode about Imaginarium.
I haven't yet, but I will.
All
right. Well, thank you all for listening.
Thank you, and good night.
Maybe one of the things that helped me with this movie was that I was familiar with the story of Baron Munchausen because it had been read to me so often when I was a kid. I knew I could see everything coming. It was like a wonderful illustrated picture book. And I think maybe for kids who really live in the moment in a movie anyway and don't care about the whole sweep of it, it would work the same way.